Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Sitting Down with Dave Cugno, which is going to be the title of the series until someone thinks of something better. In this episode, Dave's going to talk about a few things, one of which is a saying that he doesn't really enjoy that, believe it or not, does have an impact on a lot of people's state of mind when they bring their dogs in. It's something that people, just brush off. I was one of them at first, but the more I saw of people over the last year bringing their dogs in and how distraught they are, it actually makes sense what he says about it. And also, he's going to talk about his guidelines a bit. Not really go into detail about specific guidelines, but more, overarching theory and what his goal is behind, giving dog owners something to look at besides just training commands, since really life isn't just training commands. So, and there's a siren going off. Whatever, I'll leave it in here. Okay, so, enjoy this next episode, including some special outtakes at the end, as reward for watching this the whole way through, because Buster was fantastic on camera, and I wanted to capture some of that to show it to you. So, enjoy.
One of the things that I am really, I think depresses so many people, and I really dislike that you hear a lot of trainers say, is that there's no bad dogs with bad owners. I do believe that there's no bad dogs, because at least bad in the way that humans interpret bad. Bad implies they completely understand what you want them to do and they choose to ignore it. Dogs don't think that way. They don't do things. Dogs want to make you happy. They certainly don't want to do things that cause the owners to be unhappy. And owners, yes, owners cause a lot of the behavioral problems, but they don't do it on purpose. It's not like the owner does something, somebody who spoiled their dog, for example. They spoil the dog because they love the dog. It comes out of goodness. So it's not, they don't know they're doing something wrong. So you can't really call them a bad person. And I see so many people that get depressed because they think they're such a bad person because of that saying that you hear so many trainers say. And it's a shame because it's not true. There are no bad dogs, and there are very few bad owners. A bad owner is somebody who understands what they're doing is wrong and chooses to do it anyway. Or just chooses to ignore that the dog has any kind of issues, or wants to, doesn't at least attempt to find a way to fix it.
So you'd say most people call themselves dog trainers, but you wouldn't say the same about yourself?
No, I rarely get to train dogs. When I say train dogs, I consider training a dog as, taking a dog that doesn't know something and teaching it to them. Like, for example, like sit. I almost never get puppies anymore. At this point, I get dogs that are, that other trainers have, that have been through other training programs or are considered like the worst of the worst. So, to me, training a dog it implies that you're teaching them something. I'm not teaching them anything. I'm just, I'm teaching their owners how to interact with them. For example, every dog that comes in here knows what the word sit means already. They just don't do it reliably. So, getting them to do it reliably isn't necessarily a matter of me working with them. It's getting the owner to interact with them in a way that gets the dog to care about what the owner wants. So, for example, if you tell your dog to sit or down or whatever the command may be, if it doesn't do it for you reliably, let's say you tell your dog to sit when somebody comes to the house, for example, and somebody comes to the house, so it gets up and it ignores you, doesn't do what you ask. All that tells you is that the dog cares more about what it wants than what you want. And that's not about teaching the dog, it's about teaching the owners about, what it is they're doing that is causing the dog to prioritize what they want versus what the owner wants. It's important that people understand that so much of what I've learned over these last 20 years is about what happens after the training commands. In other words, yes, I do training commands with the owners, but people don't spend 20 hours a day doing training commands with their dogs. People have jobs, people have kids, they have a family. They cannot spend their whole entire day working with their dog in training commands. So I present the program in a way that, just knowing sit does not help you have a better behaved dog. One of my goals is, how do I get the people, when they're not doing training commands, to interact, to see things differently, to see things from their dog's point of view, to understand that the way they interact with their dog, separate from the training command, when they're sitting there watching TV, when they're making dinner, just the way they interact with the dog in general, can influence some of these bad behaviors. Because I think that's one of the biggest issues that people have with their dogs. Once the training commands are over, that's where the training stops. And, no dog is going to tell another dog to sit, to dominate them, or to be the leader. That's a human way of creating a speech pattern, of creating a vocabulary, a way to communicate with your dog that gives you a way to communicate. But that is this much of my program, of the training commands. I'll tell you to do them 5 minutes a day. The guidelines, the things like the couch, those are designed to give people an awareness, to get them to see things differently. Over the years, I have changed this program around, I can't even tell you how many times. I used to do basically just training commands and teach people about how to run their dog through commands and the sit and the down and all that fun stuff. But then I realized that, there's more to interacting with the dog than just training commands. In other words, one of my goals is how do I get people to be aware of their dog when you're not doing training commands. In other words, everything you're doing, every interaction you have with your dog, even if your dog's just sitting down while you're eating dinner, or whether it's when you guys are watching TV as a family, there's always something that's being communicated to the dog. And I noticed that people, they cease to think about things from their dog's point of view if it doesn't revolve around commands. Command take 5 minutes a day. There's another 23 hours, 55 minutes in the day when you're not doing commands. But that doesn't mean any kind of communication or any kind of messages aren't being sent throughout the rest of that time. So one of the things I took a long time to try to figure out is how do I get people to always consider their dog's point of view? Always consider, is little things like when I'm watching TV, is there something occurring here that may be sending the dog mixed messages? So that's what those guidelines are designed to do. When I say to people, does your dog own the couch when he's on, if you don't invite him up on the couch, he may claim it. Think about what I'm trying to do there. How much time do families spend sitting on a couch or in bed watching TV? Or, that's a big part of people's day. What that's designed to do is I present it in a way that is logical enough to from the owner's point of view, or as far as the owner's understanding, where they think, oh, that makes sense. So they are just aware of their dog during that whole time they're watching TV, or then they're relaxing as a family. Whether it's 100% factual is irrelevant. There's more going on there than just about the science of it. There is some truth to it, but the goal is not just have an awareness of your dog, but how to, for example, when I tell people to, not to invite your dog on the couch, if the dog jumps on the couch, another thing I'm teaching them is how to correct something without being angry or with indifference. In other words, one of the things I'm trying to get people to do is to not show too much emotion to their dog, negative emotion. Negative or overly, like guilt or frustration, those are bad. Dogs view them as weakness. I'm trying to get people to when they're going to interact with their dog, as far as any kind of correction, to try to be indifferent about it. Be very matter of fact, nonchalant. And some of the things that I'm doing, like, if the dog jumps on the couch, how to get them off the couch, how to invite them on the couch, how to just, it's about the energy that they have with their dog. That's what it boils down to.
Oh, Buster.
You make me sad. I thought you loved me. It's okay. Buster. Look how great he is. Thank you, boy.
Alright, go ahead. Right in the
He
mouth.
got you in the mouth.
Come on.
You're silly. You
Oh.
gotta box your mouth.
I don't like Dr.
He drank from the toilet today too. I'm almost
Oh, he got
positive.
me. I love you so. Alright, what are the goals of this program? Oh! Happy dog. Training commands are a short amount of time that you take. Buster, stop licking your wiener. Hey. Hey, Thank you.